Here I stand exactly 1 year since the first video was uploaded. I'm not doing anything Inktober this year, got too many other video ideas to do and all that to go jumping into another challenge at that point. But 6.5k subs and a video every week, I think it was a pretty successful year, more in part thanks to all of you, and I ain't stopping. But to celebrate the first year, I wanted to do something a little funny and go back in time, back almost 2 years ago when dinosaurs ruled the earth, and redraw some old Pokemon I made before the style was really solidified, as well as revisit some of those Inktober Pokemon we did. Now don't judge me for what my old Pokemon look like, I didn't commit myself. I didn't create the Fakemon formula yet or anything like that as well, but I was doing a bit of cooking with these designs.
Excuse me, sir. I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
Not at all, boy!
Let's start with almost a regional Pika clone. This streak originally was called Hazmonk and was like a chipmunk hazmat suit thing. Poison and fairy type, which I guess works. Don't know why fairy passed Liam, but we're just gonna chuck that out. Sorry. Again, the design is fun. I like the big silly cheeks and the patterns making the face look like a helmet, but the eyes are a bit silly and it needs a bit more Pika clone personality. So let's give it the Fluffo makeover. We're also going to change the name Hazmonk. It's pretty good, but I thought of a hilariously garbage joke name for it that just fits so much better. I wanted to make it a bit cuter, like as I said before, more Pika clone and less of a mindless Route 1 Rodent that the original pose had, kind of just spaced out. I wanted the eyes to be a pure purple with some Grafaiai little white squares. A similar callback to how Grafaiai's eyes are supposed to look like big viewpoints from a mask. It's actually quite appealing as a Pika clone, and the massive cheeks really help sell that almost hidden nasty poison typing. I can imagine it probably wouldn't always have puffy cheeks, maybe only coming out when in a combat stance or for special attacks ready to hock up some vile poisonous filth. Ikachu, the toxic Pokemon, an electric and poison type. Found around areas of particularly toxic or radioactive persuasion is the strange Pokemon Ikachu. Said to possibly be a mutation of Pikachu, but this hasn't been proven yet. The cheeks of Ikachu swell up and gain a purple complexion as it builds up poison from separating it from the toxic waste it eats. When it is in danger, it fires out toxic goo at the enemy as if being fired from a cannon thanks to the pressure its cheeks can expel. Their skin is a strange rubbery texture that allows it to block the effects of poison and fire. The latter still damages Ikachu, but the lasting effects are nullified. Ikachu has a new ability called Hazard Suit, where this Pokemon takes no damage from poison type attacks and blocks the poison and burn status effects. Yeah, you like that name? Ikachu? Yeah, I suck, I know. I love non-traditional dragon types, the Goomies, the Dragalges, the Appletons, those sweet little babies. So meet an unnamed Pokemon. I mean, I've named it now, but before it was just ominously unnamed. But I like the concept of it. Kind of a mix of a cuckoo clock and a bird house. I'm pretty sure I made this because I was watching Gemma's birdhouse building stream. And maybe my own absolutely horrid attempt at making my own birdhouse in real life inspired me. And I won't subject you to that horridness that is my handiwork. It's a great silly Pokemon, so I wanted to give it a slight update. A bit of polish and some small changes to make a very strong and strange dragon type. The important part of this Pokemon is the house. Because it's a man-made object, you gotta kind of keep it very angular. So a lot of trying to keep the lines as straight as possible and the perspective correct. Kind of a contrast to the wild roundness of Dracu themselves. I wanted to make it even wilder with this long tongue and waddle just flipping all over the place. A great physics object if it had a 3D model. I ended up changing the legs to normal sort of chicken feet. The original were like, I don't know, fingers ending in fingernail feet? Just foul. I think this helps make it look a little more interesting and grounded. I can see this thing hiding within the birdhouse till you get close and then it would just burst out of it and gun at you with this unnatural speed. A real aggressive turkey of a Pokemon. Dracu, the false bird Pokemon, a dragon type. Dracu, when born, desperately search for a place to live inside, like a shell, due to their featherless bodies being incredibly susceptible to the elements. This leads to them being incredibly aggressive about their shell. Some regions will have festivals where they create wooden homes for Dracu and customize it for them. It is an honor for a Dracu to pick one, as it is a lifelong commitment. Dracu bodies don't grow very large, so they keep hold of their shells forever. If broken, however, Dracu will go berserk and level towns and cities in its rage. Dracu's ability is Early Bird. So this line here was actually from one of those AI blob fakemon that I turned into a Pokemon. I've done a few of them, but this one is simple and one of my favorites. Again, I didn't stick to the Ghost Psychic type it suggested, instead going for Ghost Normal. So meet an older drawing of Bush and Berserker. This one didn't need as much changing, just some little updating. For Bush, I wanted to get it a little more candy corn shaped. It's a sheet ghost with something underneath, so maybe under there is like a little candy corn mon? Or there's a void and it's absolutely nothing. Ooh, happy Halloween or whatever like that. It's a very simple design, but for a Ghost Normal type, I think it best exemplifies that. Lastly, I gave it a lighting from below to make it look a little more spooky. Bush, the sheep Pokemon, a Ghost and Normal type. Bush spend most of their lives hiding in attics, never wanting to interact with others. It has gained this personality from years of people being frightened of it. It has the ability to float for small amounts of time and can also cause other objects to float. All of this is in service of it just wanting a solitary existence. They have a violent streak when they don't get their way. The stitches holding their mouths break and unleash a terrible curse from within their mouth. The curse is said to be broken if you help stitch Bush's mouth back up. Bush has the ability Unnerve. For its Evo Berserker, it has a very Bakamon energy, even going so far to have those weirdly scary, veiny hands. Or maybe not as veiny, but yeah, it's a form-changing mon, looking cute and unassuming till you heard it, and it goes Barbarian Rage. I wanted the art to look like it's hovering along with a joyful expression. It's a cute little stitched up sheet ghost. Then when it gets enraged, the mouth splits open into a grub face and strange energy leaks from the patch on its head. In this form it becomes ghost fighting to have a bit more of a dangerous physical beatdown. Honestly, not much to say about these, it was more updating rather than redesigning. It wasn't as hard to create a cute sheet ghost mon line. Berserker, the sheep Pokemon, a Ghost and Normal type in its normal form, and a Ghost and Fighting type in its Berserk form. Berserker evolves from Bush after dealing 500 damage in a battle before fainting. While Berserker may look calm and cute, it actually belies a completely destructive and aggressive nature that only comes out when it is in desperate conditions. When mad, the stitches on its mouth strain and unleash a miasma of curse energy from it and the patch upon its head. Worse than that, two large, powerful clawed hands emerge that pack an exceptional wallop. It won't stop till the source of ire is gone, then will return to its more lax way of life. Berserker's ability is a new ability called Berserk, where upon hitting half health, this Pokemon transforms, changing types and becoming stronger. The last two are Pokemon I picked from my Inktober vids, which I thought were deserving of some Evos. And what better choices than our good bad dog Starkbark, and of course, the first Pokemon I ever did for the channel. A strange choice, but Gargoyle. So let's start with Starkbark's Evo, Cerberus. So Starkbark was inspired by those dog Heartless from Kingdom Hearts. It's a bad, steel and dark type doggy, so where do we go from here? My original idea was just to make it bigger and rounder dog, but this idea just hit me of making it a Cerberus Pokemon, a little inspired by the shoulder dogs of the infernal Nasus skin from League. Each of the smaller heads are like a half of the Starkbark in a way, and would be alive and moving in tandem and balking with the main head. It's a bit more Doberman in the skin, but it's got a longer Snaptrap snout. I wanted to keep it rather angular in stark contrast to Starkbark. I didn't want to go too far into the whole Cerberus from hell with like flames and super dark colors, but decided to include a chain tail as I feel like chains are kind of a good mix of the steel and underworld aesthetic. I do end up giving the side stalks some pupils to help make it look a little more sentient. I think this would be like the Cerberus from Hades, a serious, scary dog, but actually in secret, it's a bit silly and wanting attention. Cerberus, the chain Pokemon, a steel and dark type. Cerberus evolves from Starkbark after using steel-type moves 50 times. Cerberus has 3 brains. The main head is more advanced than the other 2, but combined is an incredibly smart Pokemon that has the ability to be a stupendous guard dog. Cerberus has large metal jaws that shear metal easily, which is good as its favourite meal is scrap metal, which helps give it a lustrous coat and the minerals absorbed keep them hardy. In ancient times, Cerberus was said to be the protector of the underworld, and some ancient buildings even have Cerberus statues at their entrance. Cerberus has the abilities Rivalry and Guard Dog. Alright, let's round off our final design with Gargoyle. The dopey slowpoke of the skies. And buildings, I guess, too. I had the great idea where Gargoyle evolves suddenly. It doesn't notice the change, it just happens. I didn't want to change the design too much. Instead, it becomes a bit old man looking and gets a bit more ornate and fancier, like it's upgraded to a nicer building to sit on. It even gets some neck and ear hair, very old person chic. I didn't want to change the pose or expression too much, as it just kind of went pop, and then it was a new evolution. This is kind of a spectrum of Gargoyle, with Druddigon being the draconic and this one being the more imp or bat-like. They would probably have these kind of Gargoyle statues of both of them all over, probably Kalos. Some of them are real Gargoyles that will just forget where they are and freeze up for the rest of time just pondering. I saturated the colours a little bit, maybe it is a little more lively at this point despite everything. And of course the name is a pun on Gargoyle, the Gargoyle Pokemon, a steel and flying type. Gargoyle evolves from Gargoyle without notice after using Amnesia 40 times. Gargoyle will sometimes just spend their time standing on a perch and suddenly evolve. They may never actually notice the change unless their perch breaks from the sudden change of weight. It is incredibly slow and absent-minded, which leads to battles being an incredibly boring spectacle. But Gargoyle do one thing great, and that's take punishment, and will just stand there as their opponent faints simply from exhaustion. Then Gargoyle will spring into battle. Gargoyle has the ability Unaware and Oblivious. So let me say thanks again for all the support and all the love, and I have a question for you. If I made a Patreon to keep this channel going for 1,000,000 years, what kind of benefits would you like to see? And I'll be finally creating a public Discord for us all to talk and interact. Can't wait for another year of Astaran adventures, more rolling for Pokemon, and other silly videos of whatever I can think of. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't, and share around this new 1-year-old baby that we all made together. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next video.
Baby man, little baby man, little baby man, little baby man.
Thanks to the pressure its cheeks can expel,